对，地球的人类，大家早安，欢迎来到电之森，我是你的引鹿白鹿引鹿伊妮。今天也在电之森播出节目，为路痴们提供庇护。我来开一下我们的电脑里面的声音呢 ，Open， 开架。早安，早安，大家早安。嘿嘿，我在设定这边。对，我现在停在设定这边。我不知道这些是什么东西，但是看起来不太对。今天我们要来玩的是 Not for Broadcast， 就是它不是给你直播用的啦的意思。但是我还是来直播了。它的那个字幕只有简体中文，所以我就用简体中文，还没有繁体中文。但是它的抖声音它可以改成英文或中文。我想说给大家选要，不是恐怖游戏，不是恐怖游戏，对，这不是恐怖游戏哦。嘿嘿嘿嘿，安，这真的不是恐怖游戏，真的不是啦，至少不是那种哇的那种恐怖。嘿嘿嘿，剩下的我不太清楚，它到底是要我调什么东西，我感觉调了会很奇怪，所以就算了。哦吼，都开，画面都开，都开，好，看不懂，好，没关系，我觉得有点危险，我突然觉得有点危险。就是他有点在触动直播的敏感神经的感觉，我再稍微小一点，往下一点点。啊！我不知道这到底能不能播啊！真的，应该还可以啦，还好。就我原本想说，哈哈。是一些哈哈，可能会是你们会喜欢的酷游戏什么之类的，但是看到那些选项我有点错啊，内容有点政治，就是没关系，我们哈哈，我们东西哦。对了，还是要感谢喝剩他抖了一个绿戒，好久没有人抖我的绿戒了，刚刚原本有出现一下，我有看到，但是跳回来之后，不知道为什么它就消失了。喝剩抖了50块，然后说偷空大喝没有啦，他想跟今天的直播，但是你还要忙是不是？辛苦了，总之先放一个没有卡布雷在这边。谢谢考布雷耶！等一下玩完游戏我们再去考。哇！先挂台听报告中，好，我会加油。想不到吧？有人玩过就是了，不用太担心。好，那我就放心了。要是会被抓的话，一定不是我啦，一定不是我先被抓。这个意思没有错，感谢万波凯。这时候只要我们混过关就好了，没有错。摸一摸 Q 啊，摸一摸 Q。大圣，辛苦你了，你还要忙对不对？加油哦，辛苦你了。空大失败没有错啦，哈。好，归档跟插入游戏是什么意思？一些酷东西，游戏里面会出现的吧？插入游戏 可能是存档之类的，可能是存档。我们来新游戏，来玩新游戏，我们从头开始玩，因为我根本没有存档。输入游戏名，游戏是我自己的名字吗？好，那我就输入一个 Iniciel。OK， 一个我的英文名字。好康是新游戏哦。插入应该是指载入吧？应该吧？应该，我会努力试试看的。故事模式：实习生、广播主持人、制作故事模式，我们要看剧情，我喜欢剧情，我喜欢故事。这款游戏其实还没有完全完成的样子。天数1选举，哇，一上来就是这么敏感的话题吗？选举，右转，哦，这样右转啊，有人经过，你好。哦，这是电话在响的意思。好，我接起来。
Alright, mate. Dave here. Listen, I know you've only come in to clean up the place, but I've got a bit caught up, so you're gonna have to run the news tonight. Now, don't worry, it's not hard, and I'm gonna stay on the phone and help you. First, I'm gonna give you a quick tour of the broadcast room, so if you're not doing it already, look forwards towards all those screens.
好，但是在我看过去之前，我先调一下。我刚刚才发现我没有调好画面大小 ，sorry。现在这样子，大家应该就能看清楚，字幕了。太无情了。好。
Right, look up at the top. That coloured bar is your audience. You want to keep the viewers going up and not down. Underneath that, you've got the screens. The one on the right is the broadcast screen. That's what the viewers are seeing at home. It's only a couple of seconds behind the master screen there in the middle. That's the one you control. Now, the 4 small screens on the left show the different signals coming from the studio, and you can choose between them using the numbered buttons on the vision mixer at the bottom left. Don't worry, I'll talk you through it and you'll pick it up in no time. Now, have a look to your left.
这样。
These plugs control everything in the studio. I've left them set up for you, so provided you haven't fiddled with them, all you have to do now is throw the master trip switch and we're in business. Once you've got the power on, face the front again.
好，せーの。
You can see on the broadcast screen that we're in the end titles for the show before us. Fortunately, they go on for fucking ages, so there's plenty of time for me to explain. Oh, right, okay, they're over, so we haven't got long now till the broadcast. Right, quickly, mate, look down under the desk. You can see a load of videotapes on the left. They're your adverts. Pick any 3 and load them into the machines on the right. When you've done that, look up to the front again.
好，沙拉，我喜欢沙拉，来沙拉，这是游览，我喜欢游览，不知道是谁，我们来认识他。
You should be getting a signal from the studio soon.
At 9 p.m, sit back and relax with multiple
award-winning
movie.
When you get the signal, select screen 1 with the vision mixer and we're ready to go.
Prawn and mayonnaise?
Yeah, blue.
Yeah, thought it might increase our viewing figures.
Every day. You offer me prawns every day.
10 seconds, everybody. That's how I show love.
You're trying to kill me.
And yet you persist, going 5, 4.
But now, it's time to join Jeremy Donaldson.
Good evening. I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Our main stories tonight.
Okay, we're all good. Next is going to be to throw the news titles on screen 2. There'll be a countdown, but I'll count you in as well. Just relax, mate. It's all gravy.
Buys Honest Andy's Totally Independent and Corners of Flower.
帮我倒数。
Top chat. Sports fans everywhere celebrate as popular footballer Johnny Hamsley wins Sports Fest of the Year. And a spoonful of sugar. Megan will be chatting with movie star Lawrence Bunderclatch about his new movie, The Medicated. And, of course, we'll be going live to Advance Headquarters to hear what the leaders of this fledgling party have to say on their historic...
Right, button 2 in 3, 2, 1. Lovely, mate.
Yeah!
Next thing thing is to throw back to Jeremy with button 1 when that globe in the middle shrinks down and vanishes.
好。
Here it comes. Switch to screen 1. Now, lovely mate.
First, the votes are in, and it's a decisive win for the landslide victory with an astonishing 81% of the popular vote.
我做的不错吧？
In living memory. Advance appealed to voters up and down the country with their bold promises of permanent change. But critics have accused him of a severe lack of actual policies and of being deliberately vague. The opposition parties have all conceded defeat to Advance's overwhelming mandate, but have yet to appear publicly. However, former Home Secretary...
Great, it's going well. All you've got to do now is play the advert at the end of the segment. Make sure you don't play it too early or we'll all get fired. Now, the clock at the top is counting you down to the advert. When it reaches 0, press one of the 3 play ad buttons over there at the bottom right. I normally play the first one at the first break and so on, but you can play them in any order you want. I'll count you into it as well, but keep your eye on the clock.
To hear the co-leader's acceptance speech.
And 3, 2, 1, advert.
1 minute back, everybody.
I need you to fill out the words.
What time?
有，好，有。
Personally, I wouldn't try to confuse him with any big words.
他们在聊天。
I thought that was our little secret.
I'm deeply uncomfortable with your burgeoning friendship. Yeah.
怎么那么多人喜欢他啊？
You've made it to the first ad break. You're doing great, mate. But this is where it starts getting a bit trickier. This next sequence is what we call a multicam sequence because you're going to be cutting between multiple cameras to keep things interesting. A lot of it's down to personal taste, but here's 3 good rules of thumb. 1. Try and keep the shot on whoever is doing the talking. 2. Don't stay on the same shot for too long, 10 seconds at the most. So if you're on the person who's talking, try and throw in the odd reaction shot or pull out to the wide shot for a bit just to keep it interesting.
好。
3. Don't stay on reaction shots for too long. A couple of seconds is usually enough. Then the audience want to see who's doing the talking, yeah? Stick to these rules and you'll be fine. It's not as complicated as it sounds. You've seen programs on television, haven't you? Make it look like those. Might as well get screen 1 selected now. No need to wait for the broadcast to start. Try and stay ahead, mate.
Quiet in the studio.
好。
Thank you so much.
快！
10
好，准备
seconds,
好。
everybody.
加油！加油！
4, 3.
Welcome back to the National Nightly News. Later, we'll be hearing from shock election winners Advance. But first
Get
off,
ready to go to Megan on screen 4.
Megan Wolf is here with a star of both stage and screen. Megan?
Thank you, Jeremy. Megan Wolf, culture correspondent.
太早了
And。today I have a guest who starred in everything from Shakespeare to
Right,
the
go to
shot
Blunderclatch on screen 3 when she says his name.
by none other than Lawrence Blundercatch. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, my dear, I do hope you believe me when I tell you. I do hope that being with you here today is a moment.
Switch to 2 for the wide now.
啊！可是我已经切过了。
Glasses among ours.
Right, now just try and stay on whoever's talking.
Latest movie, which is called The Medicated.
The medicated, yes.
Wow, what was that like?
Well, as I said to Peter at the Rat, that's Peter Jensen, the director. Do you know him? He's a wonderful chap, he really is.
Give us a look at Megan's reaction.
Several movies, all terribly successful. I said to
Lovely.
Peter,
Now back to Thunder
what a
Twat.
wild ride this has been. And do you know what, Megan? I really meant that.
Wow, that is fantastic. And am I right in saying that the character you play in this movie is quite an academic one?
Absolutely right. A scientist.
Was that a challenge at all?
我这样子对吗？
But seriously, yes, you're right. It was a complete departure from my last starring role when I played Sergeant Brock Rockman in Bullet
他看起
Man.
来不是。
You
我
remember
没
that that was a true story of one soldier's fight for a love that surpasses all others. A love, of course, for freedom. I think it's grossed over $1 billion, but honestly, who's counting?
Get back to who's
The role
talking.
before you scoop 2 Best Actor awards, if I remember correctly.
It's so sweet of you to mention it, but I really am not in it for the awards, although those 3 little statues do take pride of place on my mantelpiece.
With all the others, I'm sure. So, if you're not doing it for the awards, what is it then that drives you?
That is a beautiful question, Megan, and not easy to answer. Like you, I'm afraid. Cut me, and I will bleed. And often, that's how it feels, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Bleeding, giving, suffering for one's audience. I suppose in the end, I do it for the difference it makes. I do it for the people that I inspire. The little people. But most of all, I think I do it for the positive change that I can bring about in the world.
And today, of course, we're in for some real change, it looks like, in the
Jayo.
coming few months. What do you make of this historic election result?
Oh, well. Well, now you're asking. Historic election result. Indeed. Historic is the word. Well, difficult, isn't it? Very difficult. But, I think I've always been quite clear that when it comes to politics, one should always strive to
加油
not fuck things up.
Shit, it's well, don't
Okay,
worry, I
okay.
won't do it again.
Sorry, I said fuck.
Shit, he did it again. Okay, don't panic. I'll explain how to deal with swearing at the break.
Medicated, which opens next week.
Right, they've swapped the shot of Jeremy on screen 1 for a VT of the movie clip. You'll get a countdown on the screen, but I'll just let Megan cue you in.
My character, Dr. Lods Hemlock, is faced with a decision that could affect humanity's very survival.
Exciting stuff. Let's take a look. Exciting stuff.
好好，这样子应该可以吧
Oh,？looks like
对吧？
Barnacle is really losing it in the studio. I'd love to hear what he's saying, but we
他到
can't
底在
find
干
out
嘛
now. We'll go to the Russia's room together once the broadcast's over.
好好好，没关系。他为什么这么生气？
It's not your fault.
You think I don't know that?
他讲话的时候应该要有这个，
No, Lance, we mustn't.
应该要有骂脏话的那个声音，
Miss Flanagan.
有消音。嗨，
Did it for you, baby. All for you.
Dr. Hemlock.
We're gonna change the
Hemlock.
world. If only I listened to you.
Dr. Hemlock.
You told me, but I didn't listen.
Doctor,
I'm drowning, Lance, you said.
you need to see this.
No, it's all too late.
Look at this!
The virus. The sterility. This folder. This is the key.
We could stop it all.
Yes, we could stop it all. We have to ask ourselves.
At the end of the clip, you'll want to play another
它
act.
是戏
Remember
精
to
吧？
use the clock at the top to count
这
you
边
in.
这边这边这边，我知道我知道，谢谢。
Right, I guess I better explain how to deal with bleeping out swear words. As you've probably noticed, the broadcast screen here is about 2 seconds behind the master screen. Here,
Okay.
when someone says a naughty word, the bleep button lights up, like this.
Oh,
2 seconds later, you'll hear that swear word going out on the broadcast, and you need to hold down the bleep button or the space bar on your keyboard for as long as the swear word lasts. It can take a bit of practice getting used to hearing 2 things at once. Just stay calm and you'll get it.
我努
And
力
if you
试试
can't
看。
tell when to bleep, just above the button, you'll literally be able to see the sound scrolling by. All you gotta do is hold it down while the red bit is over the red line. Simple. Of course, if you do it by eye, you'll have to take your eye off the screens. That's why real professionals do it by ear. Most people like to have the volume of the broadcast screen a little bit below the master screen. Let's set it now. As you turn it up, you'll hear the advert get
And after a
louder.
long day exploring Bromley,
哦，有了，
one of 2 communal texts.
嘿，
Good. You're set to start censoring. Like I said, it takes a little practice, but I'll try and help you through it, and soon we'll have you bleeping like a pro. Remember, button lights up, count 1, 2, and hold it down.
Isn't it time your family...
Remember to select screen 1 now that you've got the feed. Don't wait for the broadcast to go live. That's too late. You can use the number buttons on your keyboard, 1 to 4.
How?
Seriously?
We've had worse. 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back. I'm told we can now
Jayo.
go live to Advance headquarters, where the two leaders, Peter Clement and Julia Salisbury, are about to make their acceptance address.
Shit, it's pissed.
Shall I start?
Go for it, Pat.
他在喝酒。
Okay, well, thank you all for coming, and, well, where do I start? What a day.
They said we couldn't do
They
it.
certainly did.
They used every dirty, low-down, lying southern bastard trick they had against us. But you, the people, you saw right through their shite.
I'm sorry about the language there.
Sorry about that. I've had a couple
Huh?
of Sorry about that.
对不起
Coarser than
Sorry,
the granny's
对不
fanny.
起。
Coarser than the
Memorably
granny's...
put.
Oh, sorry.
Look, to be honest, who can blame Peter for celebrating? Throughout the campaign, you've heard us say that Advance are not a political party. A party is what you have when things are going well. When the country is suffering, you don't need a party. You need a team.
You need a team.
That can change things. But today is day one of a new future. A better, fairer future. So perhaps we should all be celebrating.
Except for the rich. For them, the party's over. They shouldn't be celebrating. They should be putting their shitting pants on and opening their dusty checkbooks.
Again, colourfully put, but not inaccurate.
Okay. 好。
Before we came out here to address the nation, we used our executive powers to pass the Assets and Wealth Act.
OK.
Working with the tax office, we have produced a definitive list of every person in the country with wealth into the millions.
You know the sort of... Probably you rather you don't.
可以可以可
Because
以
the。likes of you and me are not welcome in their gated communities.
Tomorrow, we will be introducing a sweeping reform of the tax system in this country. No more hiding wealth offshore, no more trust funds or creative accounting. A simpler, fairer, unavoidable set of tax laws.
So all you bastard public school snobs have got nowhere to
OK
hide.
OK。
And
哈
earlier
哈。
today, we revoked your passports. You want them back. You want to leave like you threatened before the election. That's fine. But first, you're going to pay up. You're going to pay back.
Advance are going to turn this country from a nation of warring individuals into a team.
突然的一
Properly fund health
不会
and
不会不会
education.
不
To
会的
raise the living standards of us all.
The pundits said we'd have to raise billions. But you'll see when we've reclaimed what's ours, that's absolute ferret shite. So to you posh twats,
The people who pay you a pittance to serve them drinks in their
You have
private
to hold
clubs.
down a bleep
The people
button
whose
for it to
children
work.
我错
you
过一个
raised.
so they've got time to get even fucking richer.
Advance have this to say to you.
It ends today.
We are coming for your sports cars and your mansions and your vineyards.
It ends today.
We will put the wealth of this country back where it should have always been. In the hands of the people who created it.
It ends today.
Yes, it ends today. And tomorrow, we'll start making it fair again.
他喝酒醉还在那边接受
And until
接受
then,
采访，还在那
ladies
边
and
讲话。
I suggest we all get pissed.
I can't argue with that. Thank you for your time.
啊！如果搞砸了会怎么样？我也不知道，但是我们的收视率超级
And
高。
our apologies for the fruity language. Hopefully we got that bleeped out for you in time. If not, someone's going to be in trouble. So, as the country braces itself for new government, that's all from us this evening at the National Nightly News. We'll be back tomorrow with full coverage of the first day under Advance. I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Have a peaceful Jeremy Donaldson.
Right, looks like you've
啊！
Thanks for all the help, mate.
好了好了好了好了，
Ferry's about to leave. Probably won't be coming back. Job's yours, mate.
什么？
Same old boring politics.
他跑路了！
Weird fever dream. Am I dying now or something?
You should be so lucky. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Not going for a drink?
No, got a date.
Lucky you. Try not
什
to
么？
get
后面
murdered.
会更混乱。哦，好。
It's happening here. It's happening now. And it's all happening right in front of you. I'm Alan James.
哇，他好酷哦 ，Alan James。
And they're going to take your poor sweet grandma.
对，我们今天就稍微晚一点，玩到差不多现在有的内容都差不多。有办法吗？有今天到一家好棒哦！我们是嗨，双面烈前辈，我都没有注意到你。嗨，欢迎，你今天也来了。对啊，要一心多用。我得到了一大笔奖金。为什么我会拿到奖金？感谢波文，感谢5G 传递的波文骑手 A 加，好赚奖金，好放的每个广告，报的每则新闻都会影响后面的剧情。Really？ 那我们要继续，我们要加油。这又是什么东西？继续。 归档。嗨。
There's 3 sections: broadcast, rushes, and adverts. Let's start with broadcast. Click on it now.
How?
On the left, that's all the broadcasts that you've done. Click on any one of them and hit load tape. Once it's finished loading, you can use the rewind and the fast forward at the bottom there to help you get to the bit you want to see.
In a few moments, we'll be going live to tonight's national nightly news. But before that, let's take a look at what's coming up later on tonight on Channel 1. At 7 o'clock, it's the semi-final of the quote...
game, and it's a nail-biting quiz tonight as the two new visitors take on 4 old ladies from East Grinching. That's followed at 8 p.m. by award-winning documentary series The Shape of Now, which tonight looks at the history...
还可以更快，太棒了！
Evening, I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Our main stars tonight. Controversy is
必输无疑，结果还是赢了。
by his honest Andy.
哇！他看起来好拽哦。
This fledgling party have to say on their historic victory. That's all coming up on tonight's National Nightly News.
Cool。哦，这个爆炸特效超级足。
But first, the votes are in and it's a decisive win for Advance.
81%的公民选票也太嗨了吧！全世界都喜欢他吗？沙拉看起来有够难吃的沙拉。他看起来，他还摸人家的手，实在是超级变态的，难。我觉得还可以耶，其实。没有啊，他为什么要在那种场合上特地把身体向前倾，然后去握一下人家的手，然后又再收回来？这样很奇怪啊。
Giving, suffering for one's audience. I suppose in the end, I do it for the
I do it for the people that I inspire, the little people. But most of all, I think I do it for the positive change that I can bring about.
fuck things up.
沙拉男吃是绝对的，因为每一期杂志只会
Sorry, I
寄
said
给
fuck.
真的
Is that, I'm really apologize.
Lawrence,
Sorry.
I
那个是蔬菜，不是那是沙拉杂志，太酷了吧！他戏很多，他戏很多。
Dr. Hemlock.
You told me, but I didn't listen.
Doctor.
I'm drowning, Lance, you said.
You need to see this.
No, it's all too late.
Look at this!
那他很强。哈哈哈哈哈哈！他听起来像放屁的声音。
Low-down lying southern trick they had against us, but you, the people, you saw right through.
I'm sorry about the language there. Sorry about that. I've had a couple of celebratory pints. It makes me cross.
Southern the ground is
Memorably put. But to be honest, who can blame Peter for celebrating?
我其实已经很刻意把他喝酒的画面卡掉了，说。
Public school snobs have got nowhere to hide. And earlier today, we were...
Gents, I suggest we all get
I can't argue with that. Thank you for your time.
Well, an interesting acceptance speech there from advance. And apologies for the faulty language. Hopefully we got that bleeped out for you in time. If not, someone's going to be in trouble. So, as the country braces itself for...
好，拜拜，拜拜新闻。他是很有名的喜剧演员，对吧？我知道。可是他的剪接好酷哦。Damn, I'm good。我的成就解除锁定。
Right, click on rushes and let's have a look at those.
怎么了？
This is the rushes. It's pretty simple. 4 screens you can see. They're going to show you the 4 signals you got from the studio during the actual broadcast. Difference is you can mute any combination of them, so you can have a listen to the stuff you weren't allowed to show. Select the broadcast and give it a go. And when you're done listening to the backstage secrets, hit back.
怎么了？还有什么？
Prawn and mayonnaise?
You know seafood makes me come out in pustules.
Yeah, thought it might increase our viewing figures.
Every day. You offer me prawns every day.
10 seconds, everybody. That's how I show love.
You're trying to kill me.
And yet you persist. Going in 5, 4.
大屁怕婆。
Good evening. I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Our main stories tonight.
第3则广告是反对派涉日分子的。
Hopeful or hostile. Controversy as global mega
反对派涉日分子的学会影响广告是啊，我觉得他需要人反对他。81%太多了啦。是看电视来找线索解谜的游戏吗？这算是吗？总理1号喝酒是总理2号什么？
have to say on the historic. That's all coming up on tonight's National Nightly News. Seriously, that prick Blunderclatch on election night?
Yeah, Megan's pretty pissed off too.
I'm not surprised. The bloke with no democracy, he's shutting his cornflakes.
Yeah, but he's hot though.
I suppose so, into oxygen thieves.
10 seconds, everybody. Your fragility is leaking. Going in 5, 4, 3.
But first, the votes are in and it's a decisive win for Advance. The landslide victory, with an astonishing 81% of the...
我还可以快转，太好了。
I needed to fill after the ads.
What? Why?
Wanker Snatch is running late.
Oh.
I thought I'd ask him about the election.
Personally, I wouldn't try to confuse him with any big words.
That's the same policy we use with you.
I thought that was our little secret.
He doesn't remember anything I tell him.
他刚刚跟他讲什么？
Why?
Wanker Snatch is running late.
Oh,
I thought I'd ask him about the election.
personally, I wouldn't try to confuse him with any big word.
跟他聊天哦，
That's the same policy we use with you.
I thought that was our little secret.
That's all right. He doesn't.
咦，这个访谈真的是偏恶心。
These aren't my cards. Please tell me these aren't my cards.
No, they're the right ones, apparently.
Oh, but this gives me nothing, Jenny. They must see that.
I know. I think they think he won't have
空
anything
的
to
字
say.
卡，
Oh, for God's sake, come on. It's a huge day. It's not an...
Absolute bogan. I don't care, Rob. I'm not doing it. I agreed to do one beastly interview a day. I made that completely clear when we started. Check my contract.
Hi, I'm Megan.
Oh, piss off. You're on thin bloody ice, Rob.
太吃汉堡。
Whole wheat, man. Whole wheat.
We're coming back from the break.
全麦面包。
Quiet in the studio.
Thank you so much for...
10 seconds, everybody. Going in 5,
他一定很讨厌这个世界，
3.
然后他一定很无奈。
Welcome back to the National Nightly News. Later, we'll be hearing from shock election winners Advance. But first, our very own culture reporter, Megan Wolf, is here with a star of both stage and screen. Megan?
Thank you, Jeremy. Megan Wolf, culture correspondent. And today I have a guest who starred in everything from Shakespeare to the Shotbot films. I'm very excited to be joined today by none other than Lawrence Blunderclatch. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, my dear. I do hope you believe me when I
他
tell
有
you.
注意到他的手在那边摸他，
Today is among the
我没有办法，我没有办法。对啊，就讨厌人家还敢摸人家手，真是很奇怪。
So you've just finished filming your latest movie, which is called The Medicated.
The medicated, yes.
Wow, what was that like?
Well, as I said to Peter at the Wrap, that's Peter Jensen, the director. Do you know him? He's a wonderful chap. He really is. I've worked with him on several movies, all terribly
问人家问题又不让
I
人
said
家
to
回
Peter,
答。
what a wild ride this has been.
哇哎，
I really meant that.
Wow, that is fantastic. And am I right in saying that the character you play in this movie is quite an academic one?
Absolutely right. A scientist.
Was that a challenge at all?
What exactly are you implying? But seriously, yes, you're right. It was a complete departure from my last starring role when I played Sergeant Brock Rockman in Bullet Man. You'll remember that that was the true story of one soldier's...
Fight for a love that surpasses all others. A love, of course, just real. I think it's grossed over $1 billion, but obviously who's counting? It's a role that's released 2 Best Actor awards, if I remember correctly. It's so sweet of you to mention it.
他为什么还能得奖？
Those 3 little statues do take pride of place on my level.
With all the others, I'm sure. So, if you're not doing it for the awards, what is it then that drives you?
Oh, that's a beautiful question, Megan, and not easy to answer. Like you, I'm afraid. Cut me, and I will bleed.
他很抢戏，很烦哎。
Bleeding, giving, suffering for one's audience. I suppose in the end, I do it for the difference it makes. I do it for the people that I inspire, the little people. But most of all, I think I do it for the positive change that I can bring about in the world. And today, of course, we're in for some real change, it looks like, in the coming few months. What do you make of this historic election result? Oh, well, well, now you're asking. Historic election result, indeed. Historic is the word. Well, difficult, isn't it? Very difficult. But I think I've always been quite clear when it comes to politics that one should always strive to not fuck things up. Yes, well, sorry, I said fuck. I'm really, sorry. I think it was a clip from The Medicated, which opens next week around the country.
他好烦哦，我不喜欢
This is a
他
really。pivotal scene where my character, Dr. Lance Hemlock, is faced with a decision that could affect humanity's very survival. Exciting stuff. Let's take a look. And we're out! Rob, get a car! Mr. Blunderclatch, no! I'm shutting this down. What kind of operation are you people running? Mr. Blunderclatch, I understand you're upset with the state! You're the half of it. Rob! I'll be at the door 6. Send out a butterscotch and a whole ham.
哇，他好烦哦。他合同里怎么什么都有写呀？
Come on then, say it. What? I told you so. Your hair look nice. See, this is why you're single.
他的意思就是说，我会打理头发，然后你就随便绑个头发，你就觉得 OK 了的那种感觉。 先看过母带，我是想说有一些酷东
Apparently, he's been
西。
drinking since lunchtime.
Christ, he's unliability at the best of times.
I know. God help whoever has to bleep this. 10 seconds, everybody.
I mean, a lawyer and a TV personality running the country.
谢谢你
Seriously,
关心我。
5, 4, 3.
Welcome back. And I'm told we can now go live to Advance Headquarters, where the two leaders, Peter Clement and Julia Salisbury, are about to make their acceptance address.
Shall I start?
Go for it, pet.
Yeah, go.
Thank you all for coming.
See what they have to say.
Where do I start? What
Get the
a
sauce this
day.
morning.
They said
对
we
他
couldn't
超
do
级
it.
醉，他脸
They
超级
used
红。
every dirty, low-down, lying, southern bastard trick they had against
我不喜
us.
欢。
You, the people, you saw right through their shag.
我觉得他们
I'm
两个
sorry
感
about
情
the
还不错。
language there.
Sorry about that. I've had a couple of celebratory pints. It makes me coarser than the grandest fanny.
Memorably put. But to be
没
honest,
有，
who
他在
can
难
blame
过
Peter，for celebrating? Throughout the
他在难
campaign,
过，
you've
他
heard
觉
us
得
say
这
that
个
advance
这个
are
国
not
家
a
居然要
political
交给
party.
这种人，实在
The
是
party is what you have when things are going wrong. When the country is
除了笑还
suffering,
能
you don't
干
need a
嘛呢？
party. You need a team. A team that can change
还没
things.
笑。
Not much.
But today is day one of a new future. A better, fairer future. So perhaps we
我
should
觉
all
得他们两
celebrate.
个都喜欢这
Except
个
for
男
the
生，为
rich.
什么
For？ them, the party's over. They shouldn't be celebrating. They
他的
should be
薪水
putting
很
their
高吗？
shitting pants on and opening their dusty
还
checkbook.
没笑。
Again, colourfully put, but not inaccurate. Before we came out here to address the
他已经觉得
nation,
这
we
个国家
used
很
our
可怜。
executive powers to pass the Assets and Wealth Act. Working with the tax office, we have
当红
produced
主
a
播
definitive list of every person
哦
in the country with wealth
这样还
into
能
the
当
millions.
红？好
You
吧，好吧，
know
至少
this.
他
Or
很敬
probably
业。
you rather you don't.
我
Because the
们
likes
现在
of
也像
you
左
and
上。
me are not welcome in their gated communities.
Tomorrow, we will be introducing a sweeping
他已
reform
经
of
意
the
识到
tax
他
system
讲
in
的
this
话越来越
country.
哑巴音
No
了。
more hiding wealth.
Trust funds or creative accounting. A simpler, fairer, unavoidable set of tax rules. So all you bastard public school snobs have got nowhere to hide. And earlier today, we revoked your passport.
Oh, wow.
Threatened before the election. This time, the first you're going to pay up. You're going to pay back. Advance are going to turn this country from a nation of warring individuals into a team. To properly fund health and education.
我真的觉得他的确是还蛮扯的，那些剥夺人家自由的东西。
The impost twats. The people who pay your pittance to certain drinks in their private clubs.
And your vineyard.
It ends today.
We will put the wealth of this country back
然后
where
他
it should
又
always
回
be.
到孤身一
In the
人的
hands
状
of the
态。
people who created it.
It ends today.
好啦
Yes.
好啦，it ends
Ends
today 啦。
today. And tomorrow, we'll
Start making it fair again. Just like we promised we would. And until then, ladies and gents, I suggest we all get pissed. I can't argue with that. Thank you for your time. Well,
Interesting exception.
and our apologies for the language. Hopefully we got that big gap for you in time. If not, someone's going to be in trouble. So, as the country braces itself for new government, that's all from us this evening at the National Nightly News.
We'll be back tomorrow. With
好哦，拜拜。
I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Have a peaceful week. And good job everybody. Thank you, Fred. Call President on board. So, you know, boring politics, eh? This is some weird fever dream. I'm dying now. You should be so lucky. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Try not to get murdered.
好好笑哦。水是可以点火那种的，笑死！继续。梆巴拉梆巴拉梆巴拉梆巴拉。好，我们跳过第二天，第三天意外来信。团队想要了解你，怎么了？怎么了？想要了解我什么？哦，我打开了它。梆巴拉梆巴拉梆巴拉梆巴拉。我要主动打开它还是怎样？哦，我要点它。来自新先进党政府的表格，获取所有公民的信息。第一，好啦好啦，他要我哪些东西？开始一份新工作的时候， 先投入就会自己适应了。走，他们一直把机密信息带回家，现在一份次要文件丢失了。他们一直把机密信息带回家。我跟那个同事熟吗？我跟那个同事不熟的话，我会报告啊。可是如果我跟他熟的话，我会劝他自己报告。怎么办？如果是同事，不是朋友的话，应该就还好。有个部门的全体成员都被开除了。啊？又不是我这个部门的，我就按时下班就好了。早下班太那个了啦，虽然压力真的很大。但是加班是不至于。一年一度的烧烤聚会马上就到了。对啊，为什么政府要问我这个？不要赢才艺大赛，那个没有用，有空就去，错过了也没关系。这聚会当天洗头，你其他时候你都不洗头吗？期待与朋友们这样的，有空再去啊。现在马上就要退休了，好诶！退休演讲中我诚恳的总结公司的利弊，当然是这个啊。闲暇之时，我喜欢一个人放松，理想的假期生活，不要惊险刺激，不要探索，热带岛屿天堂，随便拿，摆脱压力。对政府来说，最重要的是确保公民安全自由，对，安全重要，自由重要，幸福重要，平等重要，平等、幸福、自由、安全。我觉得应该是幸福吧，有了安全，有了自由，有了平等，就有幸福啊。我要签名哦，好啦，签名啦！国家问我这些东西，真的不知道干嘛。国家感谢我是不是？怎么了？山姆和孩子们都上床了。我正在擦我最喜欢的咖啡杯，第一次旅行的纪念品。现在这个杯子已经旧了，上面的图案褪色。怎么了？谁敲窗户？克里斯，荧光绿手提箱。为什么？怎么了？怎么了，克里斯？不要，山姆都睡了。哦，对啊，我辛辛苦苦赚的钱，我为什么要去把自己的钱交给那些不工作的人？ 苍穹听起来没这么糟糕，可是你知道，就是前1%、前5%，可能前10%，他们都可以这样子做，我们就没有办法啊，我们就没有那么有钱啊，我们没有有钱到我们可以一直无偿的去帮助人家嘛。赶快有转一下，真的吗？欧美有可能不常洗，是啊。你一直是家里过得最好的。好，用了一辈子所打造的一切，不能让这件事情发生。借用我的护，为什么？还要干嘛？经常说你跟我长得很像，所以在为时已晚之前得离开这。等我离境之后，我和我的钱都会安全。在冻结我的账户之前，对啊，为什么？不行啦，我的护照！你在那边情绪老鼠，不让你情绪老鼠，自己想办法。太恐怖了！Paper please， 在那边情绪老鼠。你要打给我？这是我收到的信，是不是？怎么样？好啦，这么吵！你在那边开趴。
Let's get set up and get on with it, eh? So I can get back to my guests. First of
Hola.
all, let's get the power on. You need to get at least the bottom 4 plugs on.
插头哪里？边吧，边都是开着的吧？哪样子算是开着的？哪样子算是开着的？这都应该往上是开着的吧？这样子是开着的。OK。
You might want to have a bit of a think about it. Your decisions have consequences, don't they?
哎 ，Judy 科上，好。这个玩具安全吗？圣诞节好，不要。嘿嘿，推荐危险的玩具给小朋友玩，这样子他们就可以提早学习战斗。
Right, you can see they finally got the old headline system up and working again, and the vision mixer's already in headline mode because headlines always come at the start. It's really simple, mate. These 2 buttons at the bottom of the vision mixer, you can see they now have A and B on them, and they're to help you pick image A on the left bottom screen here, or image B on the right bottom screen here. It's really simple. This little clock here will count down the number of seconds you have to make your decision. Provided you make a decision in that time, you're fine. And you can change your mind as much as you want until the clock reaches 0. But if you don't make any decision, you'll be fired before you even get to make another choice. I just want to say one more thing, mate. The pictures you choose to show of these people, well, that's how the public is going to perceive them, and that's going to affect their lives. So like with the adverts.
我努力，我加油。
And we're off. Good luck, mate. If I get time, I'll call you back in the next break. Yeah, I'm coming, darling.
好，我在那边开趴。
Is this Janet who thinks dogs have their own secret language?
Yeah, the one that mistrusts the moon.
10 seconds
everybody.
Not the best source of consumer advice, then.
Don't blame me when it explodes. Going in 5,
这是要干嘛？
It's time to go over to Jeremy Donaldson for tonight's National
Good evening, I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Our main headlines tonight. Destination unknown. At the end of Advance's first full week in office, we ask exactly who's leading this charge. Tonight, I'll be discussing what the new future might hold with a leading economist and radical with the Assets and Wealth Act on the brink of raising living standards for the vast majority of the country. I'll be asking my guests if we're on the way to a new future. Out with the old, Remington's Fist have appointed Sophia Remington as their new CEO. The following photo, taken from our archive, gives us a sense of this influential young firebrand who, at the tender age of 23, becomes the youngest female CEO in history. Sophia Remington has always impressed. She was top of her class at university and graduated with the highest honours, immediately being asked back to lecture. The markets have responded favourably to Sophia's appointment, the stocks rising 30 points in her first press conference this afternoon, Sophia announced a children's toy named Mr. Snugglehouse. Sophia promises it'll be all the rage this Christmas. Concerns have been raised about the product's safety. Making a splash. Intrepid scientist Dr. David Wong and marine biologist Ingrid Swarsborg-Horgans
有这些选择都还简单，给他们形象好一点的形象，给大家都好形象。
This is, of course, only the latest in a series of successful expeditions for this unlikely couple. In a joint statement about the dangers their team might face, the pair stated, "We will face the plentiful challenges together, like we always have." Playing the field, rumors abound as sporting legend Johnny Hamsleys is snapped leaving Bush, one of the capital's hottest clubs. The football was caught while out celebrating being named Sports Personality of the Year last week, as reported by this very program. Johnny is seen here with socialite and performance artiste Tiffany Lamore, whose recent show, Snatched Inside My Snatch, has kept her firmly in the public eye.
这张两个人都好看啊。
And grievous bodily charm.
不要剧透，不要剧透。
New position on crime. How afraid should we actually be? I'll be going live around the country to talk with people who've seen the criminal justice system.
这个好了，这个看起来比较严肃。
With more and more powers passing to the police and less oversight, are we using an advanced-shaped sledgehammer to crack a nut? All that, and Megan Wolf with a group of young actors already experiencing the positive side of the new Assets and Wealth Act firsthand. They'll be talking and performing later. That's all coming up on tonight's National Nightly News.
这样子对吧？这样子没有错吧？哦，是那个作家。等他说下去，怎么还有人从我前面经过嘞？
In the wake of the government's swift enactment of the Assets and Wealth Act, we're talking about Advance's first week in office and what the new future holds. Joining me are Katie Brightman, a leading economist, and Alan James, author of Alan James is Right, The Free Man's Guide to Waking Up. Alan, the government certainly haven't dragged their heels on delivering some of the legislation they promised. But what does the Wealth Act mean for us?
Nothing, Jeremy. We're still vassal slaves, we're just in prettier cages.
A confident dismissal there. Katie Brightman, do you agree?
I'm afraid I don't, no. I think that Advance have realised that the current economic system of unlimited, unending growth is untenable, so they're changing things up.
There I agree with you. They're moving to the next steps in the grand plan.
好忙哦。
Grand plan, Alan.
It's all in my book. Alan James is right, Jeremy. We're to become the great herd, ignorant, sterile, and short-lived. That's what they want.
Or perhaps Advance have just realised that if we
我
carry
觉得
on
我
the
做
way
的不
we
错，
are,
我觉得
we will destroy
我
ourselves
做的不
and
错
this。planet in a mad orgy of consumption, if you'll excuse the colourful metaphor.
Yes, orgy is the right word. Only it'll be the overlords having an orgy on our poor broken backs. It's all in my book. Alan James is...
Shamelessly self-promoting? Katie, how do you think the rest of the world will respond to this new approach?
I think they're watching carefully. Advance are the most disruptive threat that the world powers have faced since the last Great War.
Yes, Katie's right. War is inevitable.
Thank you, but that isn't
And
what
this
I-
will not be a war like we've ever seen before. We're talking millions of deaths. We're talking high-tech weapons that can level entire cities. We're talking...
Out of the wrong orifices?
Mock me all you like, Jeremy, but when they murder your parents and they poison your food and they take you away to their camps for hypno-brainwashing, we'll be laughing then.
That might be a great way to sell books, Alan, but you know full well that isn't going to happen in a democracy.
Democracy is dead.
Yes, Advance are radical, and change is always frightening, but the truth is that the wealth and assets
它到底在
has made more than 90% of
接
the
近几点
population
的？
wealthier and is on target to produce a permanent end to poverty.
Bollocks! What this young lady doesn't understand, Jeremy, is that these are the same people. Maybe they've rebranded, but it's all a little circus act to keep us from seeing the tyrant behind the curtain.
That's where you're wrong, Alan. For a start, they've mobilised the youth vote like we've never seen before.
You say mobilise, I call it grooming. The grooming of an entire generation to walk happily into eternal bondage. They're like psychic paedophiles.
But based on the facts, Katie, what are your predictions?
The Assets and Wealth Act is only the first step. Advance now have a historic budgetary surplus, and as well as properly funding our public services, they're already funneling unprecedented amounts into scientific research in the arts.
Or, as I call them in my book, Franken-science and opie arts. Like opiates, see?
Can we get back to the issue at hand, please, Alan?
This is the issue. It's all coming from the water, the chemicals. They're pumping it full of belief juice.
Don't get me wrong, I want to see these changes, but only if they're sustainable. If Advance lose their power after spending half of our GDP on dismantling infrastructure, that could be catastrophic.
The catastrophe is that they're succeeding. They've got us sat here talking about their puppet show.
All right, we're running out of time. Quickly, Alan, what does the future look like to you?
A bleak space where we've all been figuratively sodomized into submission.
Of course. Katie?
We might be on the eve of a brave new world. God knows we need some change, but we need to be cautious. Let's walk forwards with our eyes open.
Two very different visions of the future there. Alan James, Katie Brightman, thank you for joining me. When we come back, I'll be investigating law and order before Megan meets the beneficiaries of the assets and wealth. That's all coming up tonight on the National Nightly News.
1 minute back.
Okay.
You know, I think they might do some good.
I hope so too.
How's it going, actually? Fuck it, I don't care. I hate the fucking news. Oh, bloody hell, I love this tune, though. All right, mate, see you later. Bye.
哇，高歌离席，他超级激进，那边带了很多，那边带了很多书来给自己帮自己推销。有小朋友在看，怕。
She's good. You know she is. 10 seconds, everybody. Little JG's go to the big bag, clutch on the button.
If that sticks, I'll just
5, 4, 3.
Welcome back. In our second segment, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the state of law and order in our country. Advance have already tasked what they are calling a solutions team to move this serious social problem to the top of the list. Tonight, we go behind the headlines to meet the people who live with the criminal justice system every day of their lives. First up, we have Gregory Judge, a lawyer who sees the problems close up on the front line. Can you hear me, Gregory?
Yes, I've got you, Jeremy. Thanks for having me.
啊 ，OK， 他看起来是个还 OK 的人。
Well, as you can imagine, Jeremy, we are massively understaffed in this country. We're working every hour we can just to try and cope with the caseloads.
OK， 我可以来回切。
It must affect the quality of support you can offer.
Well, we can barely keep up with demand, Jeremy. There just simply isn't enough being done at a systemic level to relieve the problem. We need more support from ministers. We need more support from ministers. We need change at a structural level,
I'm
Jeremy.
leaving, Greg.
Not a good time, darling.
It never is it? I'll be at my mother's.
Just hang on. The problem isn't a local one, Jeremy. It's nationwide. Just give me 5 minutes. I'm talking to Jeremy Donaldson.
Oh, have you mentioned your affairs?
No. Well, the affairs of
加油啊，
the Justice
加油！
Department that we should be concerned about.
Hello, Mr. Donaldson.
Hello, Mrs. Judge.
We need legislation to relieve the pressure on our public
Sorry
servants.
to interrupt the news, Mr. Donaldson. Can I have a moment to tell my husband I'm leaving him?
Yes, I totally understand. Quite the picture of a burdened legal sector there. Gregory Judge, thank you for joining us. Next, I'm joined by Police Chief Constable Bob Peel, a man with a very different perspective on our nation's crime. Do you think there's a problem with the system, Bob?
I'm sure we all do, Jeremy. I'm sure we all long for a return to the days when you could safely walk the streets of your community at night, looking in through windows and generally enjoying your neighbours without the risk of being terrorised by some thug with a knife. Or kosh.
So you feel the streets simply aren't safe anymore? Where have we gone wrong, Bob?
Well, that's not a simple question, Jeremy, but I think it all comes down to moral decay. We've diluted our culture and lost touch with what it means to be a citizen of this once great country. Also, as the vicar noted in Sunday's sermon, we probably shouldn't have banned hanging.
And to what do you attribute this?
什么东西有点微，怎么了？
Mainly. It's all in the Bible. Look, Leviticus clearly states that... Oh, bugger, hang on a moment. Jeremy, bloody gimps escaped. Delia, could you give me a little help, please, dear? As I was saying, Jesus didn't like immigrants much, did he?
And just to be clear, you think it's the immigrants who are responsible for the moral decay?
Absolutely, Jeremy. Back in your box, Clive. Back in your box. Delia, I really could use a little help with this.
I'm sorry, darling. I was spaying the badgers.
Yes, I'm talking to Jeremy Donaldson. Clive, could you put him back in his box?
Clive, you know it's Wednesday. You go back in your gimp space.
And whose responsibility is it to make a change, Bob?
Well, it is certainly not the responsibility of the decent, good, white people of this... Oh, hold on just a moment. Clive, I am not having this again. As I was saying, Jeremy, moral decay. Crime is the responsibility of the criminal, no one else. Look, everyone has a sob story, but we don't all end up as barbarians, do we? Look, when our daughter Alice comes home with an A-, does she go on a killing spree? No, she takes 3 of her pills and hides under the stairs like a normal child.
Thank you, Bob. Bob, we're locking down the police's position on morality for us. And finally tonight, hopefully uninterrupted, it's time to get to the heart of the matter. Tony Dawson has recently been released from prison after serving 3 years for aggravated assault, burglary, and
恐吓天鹅，
He's agreed to talk to us.
还要服刑3年吗？
His birthday. Many happy returns, Tony.
Cheers, Jez. Call me Titwank Tony. Everybody else does.
No, I'm not going to be doing that. Can you tell us what it's like in prison, Tony?
Titwank Tony. Prison's a mixed bag. Structure's quite nice, but it's a constant battle against institutionalization, as you can imagine. And obviously, Titwanks are quite hard to come by.
I'm picking up that you're not alone there, Tony.
Titwank Tony. Yeah, sorry, my friends are throwing me a surprise party. Good bunch of lads.
Okay, well, we're trying to let you get back to that party as soon as possible. First, let me ask you this. Do you feel that your time spent in prison helped to rehabilitate you in any way, Tony?
Titwank Tony. I don't think it's as easy as that, Jez. Yeah, I think asking that is an oversimplification.
It sounds like it's getting quite busy there, Tony, but let's try and soldier on. Since you're in custody, have you been able to find a new job?
Yeah, all the boys are here. Big Chris, Little Chris, and Vampire Chris.
Okay.
Rehabilitation is difficult with the current system, Jez. It's just not set up for it, you know? It's inherently unjust.
So, do you feel tempted to... I'm sorry, who's this now?
You are joking. Chrissy Free Bollocks has only got Mr. Fancy, oh.
Okay.
What now, fellas? I'm on the news.
It seems like we've caught you at a bad time.
I can't really hear you, mate. It's getting a bit busy here.
Yes, we seem to be losing the signal here, Tony.
Fucking way, las bolitas!
Okay.
Well, we're just trying to get that signal back.
没事，没事，没事。
Tony, I mean, we're literally away for 2 seconds. How has this happened, Tony? Can you hear me? Well, we seem to have lost our train of thought there a little. Hopefully you, the viewer at home, have gained a broader understanding of the serious and complex issues around law and order. After the break, Megan will be live with some plucky young thespians. We'll be back after these messages.
1 minute back, everybody.
That went well.
Piss off.
Smooth, incisive journalism.
I can have you fired.
You'd miss my charm.
I can have you fired.
Mate, I ain't got long and I'm quite drunk. It's been a great night. In this next section, there's a bit of music. If you edit in time with the music, you can see the result on the vision mixer, and the public will love that. Don't worry if you don't. You won't get punished for nothing. Just try and stay in the groove. Also, one last tip: when the music starts, turn down the broadcast volume. Right, enjoy the music bit. God, I love music. God, I'm so pissed. I think I might go and throw up in a bit.
什么？这什么？这又是什么？
This is a no. 10 seconds, everybody. Open on Megan. Camera 2. Going in 5, 4.
啊，这边，好，来了。
Welcome's Black, I'm Megan Wolf, and on tonight's Culture Spot, I'll be chatting with one of the first beneficiaries of the Assets and Wealth Act, a team of inspiring young people from Scritchford Sixth Form College, who today received a grant from France to take their play, Hey, Friendship, on a tour of local secondary schools. Welcome to you all. Well, let's start with you two, Harriet and Charlotte Winstanley-Hamilton.
OK， 这是特写，
Well, to be honest.
And I believe you two are sisters, is that right?
Yes, Charlotte's my oldest.
I'm the older, more popular one. I'm joking.
Harriet and Trey were really the ones who came up with the whole idea.
So, Harry and I were shooting the breeze in the cafeteria, and I said, hey, let's actually do something.
So I went to look for a drama teacher.
But she'd been laid off due to budget cuts. Fortunately, I directed a pantomime when I was at university, so I knew the ropes, as it were.
Right, yes, but you're the maths teacher, aren't you?
Yes,
这样子对吧？
Algebra, maths teacher.
Maths is really important.
Oh, thanks, Steve.
Maths is really important.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
As is theatre. It's one of the oldest art forms in history. Aristotle
I
believed.
just think that when we travel around all these problem schools and the
他们好吵。
they say, hey, I really want to be like those attractive kids. And that's a very beautiful and powerful thing. We touch our audiences and they touch us right back.
I suppose with a surname like Algebra, there was really only one choice of career for me. My wife, Angela, and I, we often laugh about it.
Angela Algebra.
Yes.
Yes. We just want to bring a bit of song and joy into people's lives.
加油！
About the difficult issues. The issues in the play are what really matter.
And I think you're going to be showing us an extract from this play, aren't you?
That's right. To put into context, I play a young first year who's having some troubles at school.
Her character doesn't actually have a name, yeah, because in a way she's like all of us.
It's like a metaphor. Maybe she's you at home, or like maybe she's you, Megan.
Maths is really important.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
Put it in, coach.
Yes, thanks,
Steve.
Right, well, I'm going to have a little chat with your teacher while you run off and get ready. I can't wait to see it. That's it, that way. So, Jeff, when did you first hear about the grant?
2 days ago. A letter from Advance arrived at the school. Now, the headmaster thought it was all a prank, but his secretary retrieved it from his bin and brought it to me.
How? How did you react?
I also threw it in the bin. But then, Harriet and Trey rescued it, and they rang the number at the bottom of the page, and next thing you know, we're on tour.
Wow. Well, I think we can all guess which way you'll be voting from now on.
Do you know what? It's funny, because Angela and I
这采访真的有够乱。
very political. I'm a mathematician, of course, and she's a paraplegic mainly. But
Okay.
we did used to watch that Peter Clements DIY show back in the day, and so we thought, why not? Let's have a go with this old democracy thing.
Okay.
And here we bally well are.
Good stuff.
Fucking brilliant!
So, let's have a look at a short section of Hey, Friendship.
Friendship.
Dear diary, I'm not sure I can take another day at this school. Another day of tears. Another day of fears. But still I walk the corridors alone. Dreading what might be around every corner.
What's around the corner? What's around the corner? What's around the corner?
Oh, hi, Gary.
Oh, heavens no! It's Gary the Fist!
Gary the Fist!
Going somewhere, little first year?
Great! I've been looking for some poor victim to bully all morning. But will this make me feel better about my violent father?
Excuse me, I'm late for maths. It's my favourite subject. And so important.
Maths is for losers. What? Maths is for losers.
My arm's stuck, Coach.
Just keep going for fuck's sake. Right. Maths is for losers. Now, give me your lunch money.
Double lunch for me today, but why am I only truly happy when I'm eating?
Not today, Gary the Fist. Not today.
What do you mean not today? Who are you? What do you mean not today? My arm's free, Coach. Brilliant, keep going. Right. Who are you to stand up to me? I'm Gary the Fist. And you're just a sad little girl with two gay dads who's all alone.
That's where you're wrong, Gary the Fist. These are my two new friends. Vanessa is captain of the netball team. Yeah. And Blake owns a motorbike.
Yeah.
But I can't fight all three of you. And I don't have any friends of my own.
Take a look at me. Take a little look at my face. I could be you. She could be you. And you could be me.
Or you could be me.
Life can be peachy keen if you work as a team.
It's my choice to be mean. So stop now, make a different choice.
Listen to that inner voice.
他们怎么开始脱衣服了？
Hey, listen up, I won't take no crap. Who said middle class girls can't rap? I ain't afraid of your crew lads. I'm a mother-loving rebel, but I still love maths.
Hey, kids, I'm Gary the Fist. People think that folks like me probably shouldn't exist. But that's just prejudice, and I'd do better if you knew the way that I became Gary the Fist. I grew up on a council estate. The park was hip, but the flats weren't great. My dad used to come home drunk and late, and he'd hit my mum for dinner, he had to wait. Where's my dinner?
It's not ready.
Where's my dinner, woman? Don't make me ask you again.
Hitting women is wrong.
I guess life's pretty hard on a council estate.
这什么东西？
Pretty hard on a council estate. Life's 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 pretty hard on a council estate. It's so damn hard on a council estate.
Life can be peachy keen.
Yeah.
If you work as a team.
Just work as a team.
It's your choice to be me.
It's my choice.
So stop now, make a different choice.
Listen to that inner voice.
Friendship!
Yes!
Well, thankfully that's all we have time for tonight on the National Nightly News. Join us tomorrow night for all the headlines from across the country. My name's Jeremy Dalton. Have a peaceful night.
And we're out.
Ah!
What the literal fuck was that?
I believe that was art.
I believe I've got a 14-inch cock, but it doesn't make it so.
I have a similar belief about an adequate paycheck.
哇，收视率又到顶了。
Someone please get these twats out of my studio.
His incredible real action eyes. It's no wonder Mr.
哇，我觉得这个玩具会大卖。啊！我的天哪，这一切太苦了，太苦了！刚刚大家都说了什么？啊！感谢实话笑跟潘豆，你们都成为泰坦子民3个月了，好哎，泰坦爱你们！感谢史莱姆，你今天也升天了，史莱姆！啊！这到底什么东西？音乐剧，游戏的背景是80年代 ，whatever，OK， 好，我加油！我刚超级认真的，真的很尴尬，这到底是什么东西？感谢 KSI， 这个收视率增加，对呀，这个收视率居然可以增加，哇哦！有 A 啦，有 A 就好了。故事模式应该是不会有失败，原来如此。刚刚到底发生了什么事情？导播天才，一点点奖金。我怎么从穷光蛋变成负债累累？这样子有变好吗？这样子有变比较好吗？怎么了？世界怎么了？我不看了啦，不看了。直接下一关。但是刚刚那个玩具看起来真的很酷，真的很酷，我觉得会大卖，深夜，天数15，怎么了？深夜怎么了？认出了山姆匆忙写下的潦草笔记，因为没有付租金而被赶了出来。那就租便宜一点的房子啊！去街上取克里斯的东西了，不用等我强调2次。怪我干嘛啊？怪我咯？不是啊，你自己的事情你自己负责嘛。你一上来就想要情绪老鼠，我当然不会喜欢要帮你啊什么之类的。我也不知道我刚刚到底看了什么。那玩具让你想到菲比，我也想到菲比，但是很酷，我会买。廉价恐怖电影。坎蒂决定独自调查时，你14岁的儿子打动了你，他又想去朋友家，深夜想去朋友家。不行，什么？他为什么不能出门就要恨我？奇怪。不行，我还是要去关心一下他。我儿子我要自己教啊。怎么了？哦，好，他有道歉。我们都互相各退一步嘛，各退一步。 你其他天可以去你朋友家，你其他天更早的时候你都可以去你朋友家，但是这段时间实在是不行，太晚了，太晚了。没有人能够保证你的安全，你自己也没有办法保证你的安全啊，对吧？怎么了？怎么了？怎么突然跳了这么多天？圣诞节到了，嗨！圣诞节快乐！环顾餐桌，不禁笑了起来。年迈的母亲在坐在桌子的主位，以往都是你爸爸坐在这。对啊，为什么？为什么？今天下午的气氛很紧张，大家都感觉到了。什么？干嘛？干嘛一直要怪我？我才要怪你在那边情绪老鼠我，很奇怪。他一直盯着我，我要祝酒，开心开心。真的很酸，克里斯，讨厌你这种人。我本来想说，哇，你是我老公的，老公，应该吧？山姆听起来像是老公。反正，你在那边情绪老鼠，我就不想要跟你做朋友了啦。亏你还是我老公的妹妹。便宜的烤鸡肉，在那边。我的女儿，我有多爱你。朋友计划去旅行。哦。他在那边。好啦，如果有计划过的话，有比较好。有计划过才资助，如果是突然想去旅行的话，我才不会资助。哇，我们没有那么多闲钱。我们一起来想办法。好，我们一起来想办法。我觉得这样子可以让我们家里关系变好。怎么了？怎么了？有人要走运了，能想办法筹到这些钱的。山姆没有看我，不喜欢我，到底是怎样啦？就已经是一家人了，一定要在那边老鼠来老鼠去的，我好生气！哼！生日过得开心吗？又变少了。现有财富，钱是什么啊？我没有钱呢。老鼠只对关心自己的人有用，没有错。哦，新账单，一堆账单。新进档的蓝绿色标志。好哦。我们很穷，随函附上支票1张，将其作为一种标志，创建平等社会的坚定承诺。哇哦！有一部分是克里斯的钱，我可以还他一些钱啊。经济负担略有减轻，太棒了！关系僵掉了。关系僵掉就僵掉，这种家人我才不想要跟他们好。哼，比开始时更没钱了哇！这什么奇怪的气氛？老鼠来老鼠去的，感谢 ORZ， 欢 子明，欢迎加入鹿痴宝宝哦，欢迎你，谢谢。经济负担略有减轻，太幸福了。从前是什么？啊，变成舒舒服服，舒舒服服就够了啦，不需要要求太多，舒舒服服刚好。长周末是连假的意思吗？结婚纪念日，太棒了！好啦，哇，周末要加班。打算怎么跟山姆说？我觉得还是得去工作，然后我们可以等下一个连假再去，不一定要结婚纪念日，没关系啦。干嘛？你就这样子走了？不是哈，我们就订下一次的票嘛，我们就。又不是再也不去了，我们下一次还可以去嘛？对嘛？又老鼠，奇怪。安安，听说小福你今天生日，福你生日快乐，生日快乐！哇哦！三逼子老鼠，你们全家人都喜欢老鼠别人，哼！我不在乎钱有没有变多啦。我只是觉得，下次还可以去嘛。这次工作不去，就没有办法有下一次旅行了啊，这种感觉嘛。查理，先进党进取者，青年俱乐部。啊，他要入党吗？感谢 JHIN， 感谢龙井仓鼠，你们都成为泰坦子民3个月了，好耶好耶！泰坦爱你们哦，爱你们！对嘛，等我工作完再一起去了嘛。本来约好很期待，突然不去了会生气，可是。下一次还可以再去嘛？我也很期待呀，我也很期待嘛。又不是说我就不期待，全程就只有你在期待，然后我突然跟你说不去了。工作就是工作嘛。不要，为什么 ？It's not fair. Why？ 我知道，现在你觉得不公平。对，等你成年了，不需要我签字了，你就可以随便去入党了。免费票又是什么东西？不是给我，要不去了。艾伦·詹姆斯，他不就是那个很喜欢推销自己的书的那个家伙吗？ 点懒得出门，可是皮卡利有点剧透了，先不要。皮卡利，免费票，主体标题：前方之路。既然他都不是很确定了，那我们就不要去好了。啊，还好，我本来还在考虑要去的，因为我上一次没有跟他去没有跟他去旅行。要去看电影，看他怎么变出一堆书了吗？不要，我不想要。家庭矛盾就矛盾。查理还没有从学校回来，感谢你寄回家长许可表。山姆签了，山姆大概不知道怎么教小孩。跳出来的成就提示上写的，我就没有看到啊。我没有看到，或者是没有提到，就先不要讲嘛。对呀。特别漫长的工作后回到家，发现信件被分了几堆。为什么突然要分信件？分了信。哦，大概是山姆有想要收到的信啦，通常应该是这样。有一封信吸引了你的注意，日渐熟悉的先进档，回标，急件，请立即回复，请说。什么意思？合作盟约计划是什么东西？每户家庭都将成为其中2家的合作伙伴，高性能和财务安全，所有回报均基于名义，无法进行保证。什么东西？所以，这个廉价好货，没有办法。茱莉亚、索尔兹伯里和彼得克莱门特，谁呀？谁有多大的影响力？我不知道啦，我不需要那么多钱啦。不需要，会时不时挥霍一下。哇，开始，开始慢慢的，我们不用为了钱这样啦，可以好好过得去的，够啦。
Good evening, Alex. It's Bozeman here, your boss. While you're powering up and getting the adverts loaded, I thought I should just tell you that we've had one of those public information films from the government, and it's mandatory that you play it. You still have a free choice for the other 2, so read those tape labels carefully, but make sure you play the advance advert, preferably at the second break.
好啦。
Have a great show, total pimp.
什么东西？好啦。你什么？曲折悦人的阅读体验。复活节。护肤霜。为什么是乱码啊？阅读。
live interview with Prime Ministers Julia Salisbury and Peter Clement, I'll be asking what this mysterious symbol might mean.
Sorry. 什么？等一下，等一下。看，等一下，我没有注意到。对不起啦，我刚刚还在决定我要放哪些。什么？对不起嘛。开个电风扇，我也觉得坏了，什么东西？刚突然就开始了，哇！都是如从检查点重试。刚刚是没有讯号吗？天数153，对，我在153。好，不对，这个，然后这个，然后对，我要放这个。还有什么？37秒，好。开。散热。
Oh, how's it going with Steve?
Why are all men such pricks?
That well,
Apparently he has a complicated relationship with his fate.
No. Sorry, are you saying he chose his imaginary friend in the sky over you?
I don't know why I talk to you.
It's a really awful date.
10 seconds, everybody. Like I said, all of you.
Did your personality accidentally slip out?
Pricks. Going in 5, 4, 3.
Good evening. I'm Jeremy Donaldson.
And I'm Megan Wolf. Our main stories tonight.
Uncooperative. A mysterious symbol has appeared overnight on thousands of buildings throughout the capital.
Tonight, in an exclusive live interview with Prime Ministers Julia Salisbury and Peter Clement, I'll be asking what this mysterious symbol might mean.
Critics have been quick to dismiss the graffiti as a publicity stunt or an act of frustration
我觉得这种比
by
较
a
好，
tiny
这样子
disorganized
就不
group
会。
of those who will never, under any circumstances, be content.
We shall overcome. Trapped in Dante's taint for more than a month now, doctors Ingrid Svorsborg and Horgensvoord and David Wong announced today that they're considering 2 possible options.
With 2 of the finest minds in science working together, hopes are still high for the eventual return of the team to dry land.
While both options are still on the table, support seems to be growing for a daring escape attempt. If a group of fungus experts can't fix the most advanced craft ever conceived by man, then who
这
can?
白板上画的到
Bearing
底
their
是什么？
opinions, the formerly rich are fighting back with a naked protest.
Our very own Robin Short was on hand earlier today when this new protest group first presented themselves.
It might seem amusing to us, but clearly this formerly overprivileged section of our society is not adjusting
应该还
well
可
to
以
the near future.
应该还
It's
可以
often。too easy to forget that not every citizen is thriving under advance.
Table for 2. Johnny Hamsleeves and Tiffany Lamour were spotted having a private moment out at lunch today.
The popular couple have certainly been on a roller coaster since they started dating late last year, and this image is sure to place them firmly back in the tabloids.
Johnny's secretive hospital visits have had the rumour mill churning. I think it's safe to say that they're not looking at his school report.
Is this once celebrated role model about to become the bad boy of sport?
And onwards and upwards. In an attempt to put the Mr. Snugglehugs disaster behind them, Remington's Fist CEO Sophia today announced a brand new product that already has the markets buzzing with interest.
This groundbreaking product came as quite a shock when it was revealed earlier today. Though its critics are skeptical, the young CEO can fulfill her promises.
When only a Flard will do, you need the Flardmaster 5000. That's the slogan accompanying the announcement that has rocked the construction industry this morning. The breakthrough device for aiding in installation is sure to change the way we see the humble Flard.
With that exclusive Prime Ministerial interview coming up later.
And our very own Patrick Bannon coming to you live from the first annual Sports Board final.
You won't want to miss a second of tonight's National Nightly News.
OK， 不太懂两张照片有什么差别，我也不是很懂，但是我总之就是选了一个看起来比较炫的。为什么他们又换了一段？我要什么时候切？
First tonight, after the Christmas horror caused by Mr. Snugglehugs,
we
have an exclusive interview with one of the victims.
Poor 7-year-old Timmy Tadlock, like so many of those affected by the Christmas bloodbath, has spent the last 3 months undergoing a series of reconstructive facial surgeries.
Last week, joyfully, he spoke for the first time since the tragedy. Tonight, he talks to us.
Before we go to the interview, however, this station would like to issue a full and frank apology for any part we may have played in the tragedy. We should never have advertised Mr. Snugglehugs. Without our publicity, the sheer scale of this tragedy, and now upwards of 8,000 casualties, might have been averted.
On behalf of the Nightly News team, we're sorry.
In future, we will do better.
Now it's over to Robin Short at the Tadlock family home. Robin?
Thank you, Megan. I'm here with Mr. and Mrs. Tadlock and their 7-year-old son.
就算我们不播他的广告，也会有别人播他的广告啊。
What you lot did, irresponsible. I mean, whose idea was this anyway?
It's all right. It wasn't your fault. As you can see, Megan, there's still a few open wounds here. I'll tread carefully. I'm going to speak to Timmy now. Hello, Timmy. Can you see me?
Mummy, who's that lady?
It's the lady from television, Timothy. She's going to ask you a few questions.
You be careful now, it upsets you to remember.
Don't worry, Mr. Tadlock. I wasn't the youngest ever editor of the Swinstead Middle School Inquirer for no reason. So, Timmy, can you tell us what happened to you? You had just unwrapped Mr. Snugglehugs, hadn't you? Was he under the tree?
Yes, I could smell him already. He smelled like love.
Ah, yes, that'll be the fur. It's scented with hoof.
I was so excited. I ran up to my room and gave him a big hug. He was so soft and warm, like our cat, before he got in the way of Daddy's Porsche.
Aww. And what did Mr. Snugglehugs say to you?
He blinked his real action eyes and said, "You're my very best friend." But I sure wish Mrs. Snugglehugs was here, and she can't be. For just $89.99, and then it's a general error. 41.
And is that when he burst into flames?
Careful.
And then he exploded.
Oh, look, I've asked you nicely.
And am I right in saying that one of his real action eyes is now permanently embedded in your cheek?
Yes.
Oh,
when I took him in at night, it
wow.
glows through bandages. I know it's under there.
为什么要这样子戳人家痛处？
Children have started calling him Timmy Three Eyes. And then with his glasses, that's 5.
It's too many eyes, Robin.
And what's the last thing you remember before the darkness overtook you?
He looked at me with his one eye and laughed. Laughed as he burned.
Oh.
It sounds very traumatic. Do you have nightmares?
All right, that's quite enough of
Timmy?
you two coming in here with your camera.
Should we just get ready?
Stand by.
Do you think you will ever be what we can call
No.
normal
Again.
Sorry.
And now look. Oh, you've made him cry with all 3 of his eyes.
Do you think your parents will ever really love you again?
Right, that's it. Enough. Come on, baby.
Oh my god.
So there you have it, Megan. Just one of the many victims of an indescribable tragedy that has shaken our nation. Back to you.
Thank you, Robin. Harrowing stuff.
And many questions to be answered by Sophia Remington in the coming days and months, I'd wager. How will she turn this crisis around?
So, Jeremy, what are the warning signs consumers should look out for when they're spotting a dangerous toy?
Well, Megan, experts advise to always check for the new Advanced mark, which guarantee a level of safety and quality.
Yeah, can we just get a close-up on camera 3 here? So if we take a look at this National Nightly News mug, you should see the mark just on the base of it there.
In the wake of the scandal, the government were praised for their swift response and bringing in this set of stringent checks and new products.
It certainly is good to know that someone's watching out for our families. When we come back, our very own Patrick Bannon will be live from the Sports Board Finals. Stick around, you won't want to miss it.
We'll be back after these messages.
1 minute back.
Oh, sorry, I'm bursting.
什么？我没有其他可以播的东西啊，没有亮啊，是我太晚。不是有锁的话是没有放过袋子。我刚刚。好啦，你慢慢讲你的。这样子有放到吧？广告带没有在机器里，可是我不管怎么放，它都放不进去啊。电风扇怎么了？
10 seconds, everybody.
Like I said, all of you.
Did your personality accidentally slip out?
Pricks.
Going
啊，
5,
这样子才可以。
4, 3.
好，没关系。
I'm Jeremy Donaldson.
And I'm Megan Wolf. Our main stories tonight.
Uncooperative. A mysterious symbol has appeared overnight on thousands of buildings throughout the capital.
Tonight, in an exclusive live interview with Prime Ministers Julia Salisbury and Peter Clement, I'll be asking what this mysterious symbol might mean.
哦，要有电源才能放袋子。好。
As a publicity stunt, or an act of frustration by a tiny disorganized group of those who will never, under any circumstances, be content.
We shall overcome. Trapped in Dante's taint for more than a month now, doctors Ingrid Svorsborg and Horgensvoord and David Wong announced today that they're considering 2 possible options.
With 2 of the finest minds in science
这样子总可以了吧？
hopes are still high for the eventual return of the team to dry land.
Without enough engineers to successfully fix their craft, the team seem likely to attempt to farm the cavern's ecosystem while they wait for rescue from above ground. I think I'll stick to risotto, Jeremy.
Bearing their opinions, the formerly rich are fighting back with a naked protest.
Our very own Robin Short was on hand earlier today when this new protest group first presented themselves.
It might seem amusing to us, but clearly this formerly overprivileged section of our society
先开电源录影带才能放进去。玩具爆炸会有小孩子受伤，那前列腺检查广告会让人检查前列腺呢？
Table for 2. Johnny Hamsleeves and Tiffany Lamore were spotted having a private moment out at lunch today.
The popular couple have certainly been on a roller coaster since they started dating late last year, and this image is sure to place them firmly back in the tabloids.
Johnny's secretive hospital visits have had the rumour mill churning. I think it's safe to say that they're not looking at his school report.
Is this one celebrated role model about to
播
become
广
the
告玩
bad
具不
boy
卖，
of sport?
只有这一台电视台，是不是？
In an attempt to put the Mr. Snugglehugs disaster behind them, Remington's Fist CEO Sophia Remington today announced a brand new product that already has the markets buzzing with interest.
This groundbreaking product came as quite a shock when it was revealed earlier today, though its critics are skeptical that the young CEO can fulfill her promises.
When only a Flard will do, you need the Flardmaster 5000. That's the slogan accompanying the announcement that has rocked the construction industry this morning. The breakthrough device for aiding in installation is sure to change the way we see the humble Flard.
With that exclusive Prime Ministerial interview coming up later,
and our very own Patrick Bannon coming to you live from the first annual Sports Board Final.
You won't want to miss a second of tonight's National Nightly News.
这样子 ，OK。期待广告，我也蛮期待广告的。这一段我们都重玩几遍了，真的是一定要，真的 的是一定要看到广告。如果再剧透的话，我可能会给你。
First tonight, after the Christmas horror caused by
我会给你300秒哦。
We have an exclusive interview with one of the victims.
Poor 7-year-old Timmy Tadlock, like so many of those affected by the Christmas bloodbath, has spent the last 3 months undergoing a series of reconstructive facial surgeries.
Last week, joyfully, he spoke for the first time since the tragedy. Tonight, he talks to us.
Before we go to the interview, however, this station would like to issue a full and frank apology for any part we may have played in the tragedy. We should never have advertised Mr. Snugglehugs. Without our publicity, the sheer scale of this tragedy, and now upwards of 8,000 casualties, might have been averted.
On behalf of the Nightly News team, we're sorry.
In future, we will do better.
Now it's over to Robin Short at the Tadlock family home. Robin?
Thank you, Megan. I'm here with Mr. and Mrs. Tadlock and their 7-year-old son, Timothy. Thanks for spending time with us today.
Yes, well, you're bloody lucky we're spending any time with you at all. After what you lot did. Irresponsible. I mean, whose idea was this anyway?
It's all right. It wasn't your fault.
As you can see, Megan, there's still a few open wounds here. I'll tread carefully. I'm going to speak to Timmy now. Hello, Timmy. Can you see me?
Mummy,
对啊，我都放了。
who's that lady?
It's the lady from television, Timothy. She's going to ask you a few questions.
You be careful now, it upsets them to remember.
Don't worry, Mr. Tadlock. I wasn't the youngest ever editor of the Swinstead Middle School Inquirer for no reason. So, Timmy, can you tell us what happened to you? You had just unwrapped Mr. Snugglehugs, hadn't you? Was he under the tree?
Yes, I could smell him already. He smelled like love.
Ah, yes. That'll be the
如果有剧透的，可能就是300秒。然后，如果有想要叫我要怎么做的哈，可能就是也会300秒，好不好？那除了300秒以外，我还会特地让你中风一下，我就特地不去做你要我做的那件事情。
But I sure wish Mrs. Snugglehugs was here. She can't be for just $89.99. And then it's the general error. 41.
And is that when he burst into flames? And then he exploded.
Look, I've asked you nicely.
And am I right in saying that one of his real action eyes is now permanently embedded in your cheek?
Yes. When I took him in at night, it glows through bandages.
哇，这个记者好故意，好故意。
Staring at me.
Yeah, some of the other children have started calling him Timmy Three Eyes. And with his glasses, that's 5.
It's too many eyes, Robin.
And what's the last thing you remember before the darkness overtook you?
He looked at me with his one eye and laughed. Laughed as he burned.
It sounds very traumatic. Do you have nightmares?
Right, that's quite enough.
我是说跟游戏有关啦，你们在那边结婚什么的，300秒什么的，我决定都叫他三眼怪。他讲到三眼怪的时候，收视率一定会上升，真的很酷。
Do you think your parents will ever really love you again? I'm happy, Mr. Tadlock. So there you have it, Megan. Just one of the many victims of an indescribable tragedy that has shaken our nation. Back to you.
Thank you, Robin. Harrowing stuff.
And many questions to be answered by Sophia Middleton in the coming days and months, I'd wager. How will she turn this crisis around?
So, Jeremy, what are the warning signs a consumer should look out for when they're spotting a dangerous toy?
Well, Megan, experts advise to always check for the new Advance mark, which guarantee a level of safety and quality.
Yeah, can we just get a close-up on camera 3 here? So if we take a look at this National Nightly News mug, you should see the mark just on the base of it there.
Okay.
In the wake of the scandal, the government were praised for their swift response in bringing in this set of stringent checks and new products.
It certainly is good to know that someone's watching out for our families. When we come back, our very own Patrick Bannon will be live from the Sports Board Finals. Stick around, you won't want to miss it.
We'll be back after these messages.
OK，
哎呦，总算是前列腺增生是什么
Megan.
Yes, she is.
Watch your back, Jeremy. Women are coming.
I'm more worried about this water dripping into my head.
Alex, Bozeman, we're getting reports saying that protesters might try and spoil the sports board final by waving their fleshy bits about. Try and make sure you don't broadcast it. It's 6 p.m. for God's sake. Wants to see fannies on the news. Bozeman out.
哇，起因矛盾，为什么？哦，原因不知道哎。
That's what it says.
Yes, I understand that, but I always say welcome back.
I think we should just keep it as it is.
Well, of course you do. I've got one hack line.
What's that supposed to mean? I didn't write it, Jeremy.
That's all right, fine. Jenny, there's something wrong with the auto.
10
seconds. Oh, I just felt a drip again. Have they not fixed this?
You want to see us fry? It's good for the ratings.
5, 4, 3.
Welcome back to the National Nightly News. I'm Yenz. Coming up later, we'll be speaking to the Prime Ministers about their exciting new healthcare facilities, transition centres.
Nice to see they care.
You're absolutely right, Jeremy. But first, we're going now to our own Patrick Bannon, who's reporting live from the finals of the new game that's gripping the nation, Sports Board. Patrick?
That's right, Megan. You join me live here from the final of the first annual Sports Board Championship. It's been a hotly contested competition so far. I think it's fair to say these two have been dancing around each other all season. First up, we have Eddie Striker. She's the more experienced of our two players today. Striker has got an accuracy of 7, a danger rating of K, and a 12-month driving ban. Striker's known for her signature move of the year, or Anki Hamster. And facing her tonight, hoping to prove himself with a career record of 12 outs, 14 finishes, and a divorce pending, is Mr. Wingspan himself, Tommy, the Fingernail Harris. Just waiting on the ref now. The slapping ceremony is taking part.
哦，他们要比赛打巴掌吗？
Striker, of course, first to start as she won the trivia round earlier on by some margin. Harris, perhaps the brawn and not the brains. Stupid. Eddie Striker. Nice start there from Striker. She's determined not to let the nerves show. Not after last time. On to Mr. Harris now. Tommy. Using his arm to pick up the ball. Not a bad shot there from Harris. Back to Striker. For shot number 3.
哦，他们在。我终于知道他们在干嘛了。
She's gone to sort of throwing under her legs. Not bad if you ask me. Bit of business with the ref, but it got sorted out. Back to Harris now. A ball in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. I'd say that's fair, but what do I know?
怎么了？怎么了？站位不对哦，站位不对。好。
Oh no! Harris is not going to be happy with that. So really not this far then. Tommy Harris in round 1. We can only hope that round 2 treats him a bit better. But first, of course, after the arguing with the ref section, it was time to change ends. Now we have the ceremonial changing of the ends. And of course, now they go back to the starting positions, as that makes sense. Striker giving it large. Winter round 2 now with Harris. Okay, we seem to have some sort of streak on the pitch. Apologise if you broadcast any of that stuff. She appears to have slogans across her breasts and arse. Try and ignore all of that. Security, I'm sure we're going to take them out as soon as possible. Apologise if we broadcast any of that. As I said, we're going to get the situation resolved as soon as possible. They're trying to carry on play, but it's proving a bit difficult, and I'm struggling to follow. Because it's quite an eyesore, and women's bodies, yeah. All right, great. Okay, so back into round 2 now. Harris absolutely determined to close that massive gap. Eddie Striker. You know, it's just some of the tightest play I've seen ever.
真的很紧张，真的很紧张。
Harris. And was that the fitted thumbscrew? We haven't seen that since the heats. What a brilliant move.
这什么东西？他们到底在？
And we know what that means, ladies and gentlemen. That is, of course, the ground sound. Excellent bit of play here on both sides of the bucket. I don't know about you at home, but I'm finding the technical mastering display here absolutely blooming jaw-dropping. The ref has spotted something in Harris's neck or head. And Harris is having an absolute shocker. What a miserable start there for Tommy Harris. But he is a late bloomer, of course, I've always said that. And after all, it is a game of two halves, 4 rounds and several subgenres. But now, of course, it's time for the half-time show. Sponsored by Rivington's Fist. Nice piece of music here to start the half-time show. Okay, another posh protester loose on the court here. We don't even apologise for that. We'll do our best to shield you from having to look directly at it. Is running around here with his genitals on display for all to see. And ruining what was shaping up to be quite the dance, to be fair. Now he's thrusting himself in Harris's face. Security's on it. And the bucket's not over! I cannot stand it. The bucket
sorry.
It's over. Hopefully he'll get taken out now. Genitals flying around for all to see. Really, if you ask me, not Sunday morning television. And out of there, hopefully taken away, never to be seen again. And a lovely finish there on both sides of the bucket. I wouldn't like to call that one. And as we head into round 3, I'd love to know what's going on in these two players' heads. But unfortunately, because of science, we can't. Not bad. So that ball boy's giving me the eye all day. I don't know what's going on. Striker there, not a great start. She looks a bit flustered, I think, after all that swinging around. Back to Harris here. God, what I wouldn't give to be that ball. Am I right, ladies? Tommy Harris. And it dribbled down his arm, which is actually a really good move, because, of course, if it dribbles down his arm and goes on the floor, it's not going in the bucket.
哦，他们要比不会丢进去，他们要比不会丢进去啊。
And Striker's gone for the animal bonus there, but of course, perhaps. And yes, Harris has counted with a tiny bell. That is wonderful play. Of course, we've seen that before. Look at her face. She is absolutely gutted. What a mug. That could have been the clincher. What a massive shame. Harris to serve now. Harris, of course, undefeated by Kestrel in his last 4 battles. Here we go. Tommy Harris. That's all right. Not bad there. He threw it quite far away from him, which is quite a good idea. Very clever there. Perhaps a little contact caution from the referee, who's being, if you ask me, a little bit harsh. Ellie Striker. And she's let the nerves get to her. What the hell was that? You hate to see it, don't you? You cannot believe it. Oh, for God's sake. Okay, like, I don't know what I can be doing about this. I mean, there's sort of breasts and genitals for all to see. I mean, there's only so much I can do. They're sort of everywhere, aren't they? I'll try and carry on. The players are trying to carry on, but of course it's difficult because these protesters, hopefully we can get them taken off soon so we can carry on with the match. What's going on here? Yes, we want our money. Yes, very good. Take them away. Bloody wasters. Absolute wasters. Oh, jog on! It's an absolute bloody... Okay, and now we're going to go into the final round. And of course, as it's a Tuesday, the final round is a mime round. Who could believe it? Nice imaginary shot there from Harris. It really could go anywhere at this point. Really high-level play here from 2 absolute juggernauts of the sport. The bucket getting moved back to its proper place. About time, if you ask me. She's juggling it around from her hands. Interesting, juggling it around from her hands. and she's put it in her mouth like as if it was an egg, and now she's and she spat it out. She did the egg spit. So a wonderful move there, quite late on from striker.
Wow.
She's in it to win it, on it like a car bonnet. Tommy Harris here.
为什么？为什么我开始渐渐的看得懂这项运动了？
And he's peeling it as if it were a banana, which is an interesting move. Not sure if he hasn't had his potassium or what's going on today with Harris. And he's throwing it, and the banana was the ball! What a fantastic move there from Harris. Unfortunately, that is the end. What a pathetic, there we go, Jeremy, that is over. How can he look his 8-year-old son in the face tonight? What a lump. We just have to wait for the referee now to announce it to make sure it is all official. In, please.
And the winner of the first annual Sports Board Championship is everyone!
Okay, the ref has decreed once again a win for everyone, including me as my 15th win in Sports Board Championship. I'm going to be celebrating tonight with my wife and children. Another wonderful victory for me. Here come the on-site security to collect their medals. They're 6th and 7th respectively. And thanks again for watching the Sports Board Championships. What more is there to say? I'm Patrick Bannon. Looking forward to celebrating tonight. And all I always have to say, Jeremy, is back to you in the studio.
Patrick Bannon there had an extraordinary
Historic sports board, Jeremy.
I didn't know you were a fan.
Yeah, I can wrench a doubler with the best of them, I'll have you know.
I certainly wouldn't bet against you.
When we come back, I'll be talking live with Prime Ministers Julia Salisbury and Peter Clement, who apparently have a big announcement you wouldn't want to miss.
That's coming up after these messages.
1 minute back.
Okay.
Fucking microphone shocked me.
What?
Fucking microphone just shocked me. Where's that sound guy?
因为刚刚打雷了，所以他们电到了啦。我就想说什么，哎呦
Oh, the mics are just trying to kill us now, apparently.
对啊，比划式投不进，对，他就是比划式投不进。
I'm wearing you down.
太棒了。
Just heard from the chaps in maintenance. The storm is playing havoc with the electrics. You might notice the odd spark. Nothing to worry about. Happens all the time. Dave got shocked into a coma last year, but he was up and out the next day. Anyway, our compensation package is parallel to none. Good luck. Bozeman out.
Sorry about all these buckets. We seem to have sprung a leak. Well, several, actually.
感谢工匠好诶，你也获胜了，太好了！大家一起，全部都是赢家。
Your star seems to be in the ascendant. It's a great time to be alive.
桌上的盆子可以喝水
Peter
了。
Clement.
Megan Wolf.
My, but that's a firm handshake you've got there.
She's tougher than she looks. Am I here?
Here, with Mr. Clement on your left.
Right you are, pet. Is your seat down?
10 seconds, everybody.
No, mine's fine. Have you had a little accident?
She's a cow.
5, 4, 3.
Welcome back. I am delighted to be joined by Prime Ministers Julia Salisbury and Peter Clement. Welcome to the National Nightly News.
Okay.
Oh, please, it's just Julia and Peter.
We don't believe much in titles. It doesn't seem very advanced.
We're delighted to be here.
Well, firstly, I should ask how you feel about the graffiti that's been springing up across the capital. Should we be worried?
Oh, no. No, you definitely shouldn't be worried.
Well, not unless you've got a fatal paint allergy anyway.
But yes, it does seem that there are still some people we haven't been able to help.
You know, whingers mostly.
People who've yet to benefit from the many advantages of the new future.
And you know, Megan, as my old mum used to say, there are some pissants who just don't know how to be happy.
Okay.
We're working hard to reach these people, find out what they're angry about and how we can help. The door to my government is always open.
Someone's tripping on me.
But we didn't come here to talk about what may yet turn out to be some alternative arts project.
Which we no doubt will have
When we want to talk to the nation about something far more exciting.
Yes, your office brief does seem to have an announcement to make, but they were being surprisingly secretive about it.
Let me ask you a question, Megan.
Okay, it's not usually how it works, but...
What scares you? I mean, really scares you?
It's death, Pep. She's talking about death.
We're all afraid of our deaths. It's part of being human. Sorry, are you saying that Advance have cured death?
That'll be a vote winner. Yep, that was definitely a drop there.
But while we may not have cured death, we hope we found a way to make it much less scary.
And much less painful and much less expensive. Look, which is me close-up camera?
Oh, sorry, it's camera 4 like that.
When I was 13, my mum came and got me from school. We had to go to the hospital. My granddad, he'd collapsed that morning, so we'd all to say our goodbyes.
Yeah.
We went in to see him. We were all frail and pale. I was scared because I'd only seen him the week before, and he'd been fit as fiddle. And he said to me, Peter, he said, it's the right time. I don't ever want to be a burden to the people I love.
The
last time you saw him?
Nope. 3 days later, we were back home. He lived with us for 9 miserable years after that. He had to be fed with a rubber spoon. He had a commode, so he'd just take a shit right there in the lounge while we were watching football. He wouldn't even wait till half time.
That sounds...
Oh, it was awful. It was awful for us, and this is the point. It were awful for him. He could see it was destroying me, man, watching him slowly fade away. And he would beg her to turn off his breathing equipment at night, but she couldn't. Or she wouldn't. It were a crime, you see. And she didn't want to lose the children, as well as her old man.
No family should have to suffer like Peter's did. And now no family will have to. The health service is today opening the first of 300 new transition centres.
The transition centres will handle everything for your last days. The legal, financial, medical and emotional costs are all catered for and paid for by the government. So even the poorest citizen gets to pass on with dignity when they choose.
And that choice is important. This is a service only for people who choose it. For people who feel they've run their course and don't want to burden themselves or their families with a slow, long, humiliating decline.
Jesus! Fuck! This microphone pack has just given me electric shock!
Are you okay?
I don't know, I think it's from my asshole!
We're still on the air, Peter.
Oh, yes, sorry, my apologies. Oh.
Are you not worried that this new
OK
system might be
这女主持人好会
Sorry, I got sacked again. Can I get a little bit of help?
Sorry.
Please.
That the older generation might feel somewhat...
Jesus, so bullshit face, fucker. That one was massive. Right, no. This bastard's
OK
Sorry, that the older generation might feel somewhat coerced.
Coerced into spending their final days eating gourmet food and drinking fine wine and luxury spas and gardens.
Look, I am perfectly capable of... Oh, my grandmother with a rutty twat by...
Prime Minister, please watch your language.
For God's sake.
Go get yourself sorted out.
Right.
We're launching a government information film tonight. It should tell your viewers everything they need to know.
好，太好
You
了
really do move at a breathless pace. It's hard to believe you've yet to be in office a year.
Oh, Megan, we're only getting started.
And on that note, thank you both so much for being here. Jeremy.
Right, yes, that's all we have time for tonight. Thank yous go out to our guests. Congratulations to all the winners at the Sports Board Final. And we'll see you tomorrow night at the same time. My name's Jeremy Donaldson. If you can, have a peaceful night.
And we're out. Good job, everybody.
终于
So they just...
It seems so.
I don't suppose there's any way this could be a good thing.
It's my nephew, so we transitioned to otherwise not the lead.
政府付钱的中心 ，OK， 好哦，这是鉴宝吗？可能啦，政府付钱安宁病房 ，OK。无线麦为什么会电？可能是沾到水吧，它坐的地方可能就是湿湿的，然后刚好渗进去它别麦的地方，然后可能打雷呀什么的，都会有一些滋滋滋的东西。最后只有 B 没有办 换人了。啊！这到底是怎么回事？这个国家怎么了？主控台会漏电，我知道啊，我知道。那个部分我有 get 到，那个部分我有 get 到。没关系，我没有讲到，就是我觉得不重要，好不好？就不用特别再帮我讲。要么就是我看到，对，要么就是我看到，然后觉得不重要；要么就是我没看到，然后我不知道。啊，这种情况就不要讲就好了，好不好？三人组一起杂谈一下吗？不好吧？那刚刚那个最混沌的是我吗？我一直被电到。然后我觉得杜杜应该很会救场，他很厉害，他的杂谈很厉害。主控台会漏电，但是我没有，对啊，我没有办法阻止啊，没关系。反应好快，切换自如，没有。刚超级混乱的，就是一个主办单位管一下这种感觉，画面很乱啦。一点点奖金，我怎么还是穷光蛋一个？这是什么？这又是什么？它好酷哦！它是那个它是那个新闻上面的那个拳头的标志，然后还有那个就是印在马克杯底下的那个标志。脑袋宕机，手还是auto切换？真的吗？我努力。哦，大家还是喜欢，这是我们的电视台是不是 ？Channel One。然后大家还是喜欢我们的电视台，太好了！我觉得我们今天玩到这好了，保存并退出。
Good evening, I'm Megan Wolf.
And I'm Jeremy Dalton.
挑战是。哦，你很酷，好。我们先不要管这个挑战式，我们先到这，对，我们先到这就好了。哇，这游戏实在是太混沌了，真的没有。对啊，上面那两个应该是政党支持度。到底，这也会显示出，我自己的立场这也会显示出导演的立场。我没有特别想要干嘛，比保洁还要精彩。我看到的是比保洁还精彩啦。
Are you saying that advance have cured death?
We're still vassal slaves. We're just in prettier cages.
太恐怖了，这群人都太激进了。我一直电屁屁，哈哈哈！你也想要被电屁屁是不是？他们都很敬业，我觉得，尤其是主持人、主播。啊！你们为什么都想要被电屁屁？那不是会痛吗？吃进之余还要想办法稳住场子。对呀。宝路你怎么看？哇，我怎么看？啊！台湾的电视节目有那么好玩就好了。台湾平常的电视节目没有那么好玩吗？我不知道对呀， 对呀，台湾创立金钟奖，来感谢各位幕后工作人员，大家都很努力，大家都很用心的想要保住自己的工作，想要赚钱。太恐怖了，我觉得太激进，做法太激进、太偏激的政党都不好，立场尽量以善良、中立为主嘛。节目不精彩，历史乐手没有啦，没有。哦，我很努力了，我很努力。主播跟记者就轻松不少吧？没有吧？你看主播要是直播的话，还要这样子控制控场，然后记者还要注意，就是不要毁了可能电视台的形象，也不可以让场面太失控。大家都很努力。大家真的都很努力。但是如果是可能不对啊，可是如果是到处访问的那种记者的话，应该更累，因为他们访问10个人，可能才有一个素材可以讲，对不对？对啊，有很多突发状况啊。大家一定都很忙，大家一定都很累的。没有错。先睡一路晚安，晚安 Ainomori， 晚安哦，晚安，辛苦了，也谢谢大家今天看到这么晚。哦，这背景声音超级干扰吗？好，那我把它关小声一点。这样子应该好很多吧？三眼怪记者跟得奖记者，啊，也只有这两个，也只有这两个记者吧，目前出现的。得奖的记者，那个运动比赛真的很闹，我觉得很酷哎，比赛花式投不进，很炫。虽然夸张了点，但是其实跟现实好像也没差太多。我不知道哎，辛苦了，双一的前辈，谢谢你。背景好像恐怖游戏，真的很像。可是我觉得我们住的地方已经还蛮不错了啦。我们就只需要保持稳定的工作，然后继续做下去就好了。我们不需要贪财。既然有稳定的工作，那就不需要再去计较那些太多的财富了。而且还有放开自我的人，没有错。辛苦了，大家都辛苦了。我们今天就先玩到这。大家真的都很厉害。女主播还是会有，就是在没有 Q 到她的时候，还是会有一些尴尬的表情出现。但是毕竟是访谈嘛，访谈就是很尴尬，很好笑，我觉得。虽然话题真的有点危险啦，直播的内容的确也有点危险，但是至少我觉得我玩的蛮开心的，看到很多很酷炫的东西，然后也感受到这份辛苦。希望下一次还可以继续玩。这款游戏还没有做完，之后我们还要再回来玩。等这款游戏做完之后，等这款游戏做完之后，我们再来把它做成一个系列，然后我们再去把它玩完吧。无法控制的话，就不要直播是铁律，没有错。为什么都要邀这种不受控的人上直播？语录不好吗？让导播好痛苦。好耶，感谢让5566， 你成为太太子民已经3个月喽，辛苦了辛苦了，谢谢你。游戏真的很棒，谢谢谢谢你，太太爱你哦，太太爱你，爱你哦。因为很酷，真的很酷啊！哈哈哈。可是，哇，我真的已经不知道，我真的已经不知道应该要怎么做才能够有收视率了。到底是要混沌呢，还是就正经的访谈直播呢？真的是哭啊！真的很崩溃。但是玩到这里，我觉得很开心。这个时长我也觉得还蛮不错的。压力太大还转行，小樱广告全下，没有错。越失控，观众越爱无色，为什么？注定上面认为收视率很棒。Oh no！ 混沌真的很赞吗？那得？为什么大家都喜欢看这种的？不好，不一样。我们不是走这种路线的啦，我们是好的新闻台，没有问题的，没有问题的啦。能做出这样的游戏也是需要很厉害的。我也这么觉得，我也觉得这款游戏的制作团队真的是很厉害，真是太厉害了。观众会引导新闻的走向，没有错。太乐的给他乐。太恐怖了！你们喜欢看的怎么都这么恐怖啊？不行啦，我们是正经节目，要教育观众的，我们不能被观众教育。要加油，要加油！不能被观众教育的意思就是指示厨做的事情，指示厨要我做的事情，我全部都不会去做，这就是不会被观众教导的意思，没有错。小朋友会看，没有错，小朋友会看，我们要教育，好不好？说不定我的小孩也会看，我才不想要因为电视台的工作就这样子教坏我小孩。我们要端正视听，我们不可以混淆大众视野，这才是职业道德，职业道德。感谢摩托还有可兰黑路痴，谢谢你给我的赞，谢谢你给我的赞。状况一出现就是拉高血压那种，真的就是好结束，就是这样，没有错。好啦，这款游戏真的很有趣，但是我们今天的直播就差不多到这了。这种工作都不会无聊，不行了，不行，还是需要就是心态端正的人来做这些事情，才能够给社会带来好的影响啊。没有错，要加油！不管什么工作、什么职业，幕前还是幕后，所有工作都很重要，都很重要的。大家都辛苦了，大家都辛苦了。今天星期2，明天星期3，明天就会是龙脉长歌的。明天就会是龙脉长歌的完结篇了，哇！耶！我好期待它的完结篇哦。没有错，我们要努力保持收视。没有，不是广告啦！你不要一直说它是广告，这样子我的努力都要被白费掉了，歌手。 等一下不是正片了，等一下也不会有彩蛋。哼哼。啊，好啦，大家都辛苦了，大家今天都辛苦了，不管是工作、考试、上课，都辛苦了，大家都辛苦了。明天大家也一起加油吧，我也会努力工作的。谢谢大家，谢谢大家跟到这么晚。大家辛苦了，我也辛苦了。谢谢大家，晚安，各位地球的人类晚安，希望你们今天也过得安稳静好。我是尹鹿，在 DK394星球的电之森为你带来今天的直播，期待与你的下次见面。愿鹿吃们夜好眠，夜晚安，晚安。感谢 Mark， 有一个大大的赞，谢谢 Mark， 谢谢。什么导播有请干嘛啊？感谢 KSR， 你已经成为太太之命3个月了。谢谢，感谢 KSR。晚安，大家晚安。晚安了，感谢谁哦？为什么？怎么了？为什么爆米花？谢谢你给我爆米花，也谢谢考布雷，谢谢你30块，谢谢你们陈晓，谢谢你们，好吃，赞，好吃，喵。大家都辛苦了，我这几天都没有开冷气，我只有开电扇而已，希望不要太吵，希望没有太吵。辛苦了。晚安。电风扇没声音，那就好。晚安。哈。